Hello. Whoa, oh my gosh, I forgot to change the transition that caught me by surprise. You'll see it out here. There's like our normal dissolve transition because I'm signing with the other account. None of the transitions are saved, so it just did like a Star Wars wipe, and I thought that the computer shut off. Well, what? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was like, I thought
Very
like
fast.
thought we were going down. Welcome to episode. Oh, speaking of Star Wars, welcome to episode 77.
77. That's
of
crazy.
Planet Film Live on our new home, PFN Live YouTube channel. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I'm your other host, TJ Cornwell, and welcome back to another episode. Totally forgot that we actually had to skip last week due to personal reasons we had to miss, but we're back. So welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us. Just a little update. We actually talked about this like right before. We've only had literally one episode that we've done on this new channel as a sample size. So we're going to continue to do it throughout March. It's trending towards we're going to keep it this way.
Yeah.
We've seen definitely like growth since we switched it. I think we're starting to become more in favor with the algorithm of YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So plan on the live episodes probably just being on this channel from now on. I don't know. Are you doing this is completely, beside this, but it is a live stream. Are you going to do a live stream Harry Potter thing tomorrow?
What time is it? Do you know?
I don't know. It's probably 5 p.m. Pacific.
Sorry,
2 p.m. Pacific. So
5
Eastern.
Oh, then I should be. Yeah, definitely, because I have a doctor's appointment early in the morning, and then I have to go to the DMV after to do my eye test.
I feel like that's
in the
usually
morning.
the time they do the PlayStation State of Plays.
Yeah. 2 p.m. Pacific
but,
sounds correct, so that's probably what it's going to be. But yes, absolutely. I mean, if I'm here, because that's like, for me, that's one of the
2 p.m. Pacific, so 5
perfect.
p.m. Eastern,
yeah, then it probably, definitely. For me, honestly, that's one of the most exciting, like one of my most anticipated games. Period. Right now. I mean, really, it's like that and probably Lego Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like,
Lego Star Wars.
Are you getting that?
I'm getting it.
First week or whatever.
I'm down on it because it doesn't have multiplayer.
Yeah.
Which is just like.
And I get it because it's like it's not a common thing. I think only like Lego Batman 3 or something had it.
That it's not.
Yeah.
A common
Lego
thing.
Batman 3 had online multiplayer, and Lego Star Wars Clone Wars. So technically, what they called Lego Star Wars 3 had multiplayer. But those are the only two games, and I get it. Like, I get that it's not a staple of a Lego game to have multiplayer, but I feel like you took so much time to do, and I'm not saying like in a pouty way, like, oh, you guys took so much time. I'm saying they used so much time to get this game as fully fledged as it can be or whatever. Honestly, if you had said to me like, hey, would you be cool waiting another 6 months if it means that you get to have multiplayer?
I'd be like, sure.
Yeah. I've waited this long. Like, give me the ultimate package of Lego Star Wars. You know what I mean? And by all accounts, this is just a single player experience ultimate package. You know what I mean? Like, that would just really, for me, put it over the top of really being excited. But that being said, I am really excited too. I'm getting my car worked on right now. It's in the shop right now. So once I financially recover from whatever that headache is going to be, I'm definitely going to get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's just, like I said, also, as much as I want it to have multiplayer, that's going to be a, tens and tens of hours, if not more, if not even more, of single player like fun or whatever. Where are you at with Elden Ring? Should I get Elden Ring?
Well, okay. So I've only played.
Can you vamp for a second? Because this is driving me nuts. The tripod. So.
Yeah. I've only played about, I think, 11 hours. I love it. I love the game. I talked about it, I think, 2 weeks ago when I originally started playing it on the previous episode we did. I love Elden Ring. It's done. I think it's exceeded the expectations of the developer. Just because like the Souls games are they're not niche games, but I don't think they do as well with a broad audience just because of the difficulty level that is associated with them. So a lot of people probably don't want to take on the
burden of like trying to finish it.
Yeah. So this is actually again, this is my first Souls game. Mm-hmm. I was gonna try and play like so Bloodborne before.
Yeah.
But I love it. And there's people that they've been playing this game 100, 150 hours, 200 hours. Like
I got some friends at work that are like, it's all they talk about.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about, I have one person who's like a 35-year-old guy mm-hmm. who's playing it, talking to like one of our like 16-year-old high school girls that's playing Elden Ring. And I'm like, well, like I'm sure that's not every high schooler's playing Elden Ring, but it's just like crazy that like so many people like, and I feel like it just came out of nowhere.
I mean, it was a game that I think had been talked about like years ago, mm-hmm. and then
I feel like there wasn't much of a hype train.
Well, it's been very kind of
will it happen?
It kind of like went under the radar I think for mm-hmm. a while, and then I think it was last year's Game Awards is when they released the first trailer for it. And then I think it was supposed to come out this February, and I think they pushed it like a few weeks or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it's been in development for a long time, and I think it was like years ago they talked about it, and then you didn't hear anything, and then it was kind of like is it happening or but yeah, it's finally here. I would, for me, because this is I actually probably have a good perspective because it's my first game, first Souls game. I would definitely. I think it's probably more. What's the word? I think it's probably easier to get into than any of the other games because this is a very open world where you'll know if you're underpowered. Mm-hmm. Like you walk into the mini boss, you're like, I don't know, I'm clearly getting my ass beat.
Yeah.
Let me level up, come back, and retry. With the other ones, the other games are, I'm pretty sure, pretty linear. So it's, you can't really leave and come back. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's very Breath of the Wild-esque in which, like, you can, not, like, quite as much where it's like Breath of the Wild, you could just go right to the castle and face the final boss as soon as you start the game. This one's, like, you have to beat, like, a few bosses beforehand. But it's just still that open world that you can fight any boss, any enemy. And it is I think it's a really fun time, and you're always discovering things. Mm-hmm. Like I spent like 2-3 hours the other day just because the map is ginormous, and just like finding the little map pieces to like fill in the map.
Yeah,
I just spent like 2 and 3 hours just going mm-hmm. and finding those pieces.
It's kind of like Spider-Man.
Yeah,
where you have to build the map, basically, like
or Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
is mm-hmm. What I would more compare it to.
Yeah,
but yeah, I would recommend it as like a first game. But again, like, I think the key is just don't get frustrated because very quickly you can be like, what the like
yeah, like why is this not working?
Yeah, but I think it's probably also important to remember that most of the time it's not the game's fault. It's probably your fault. Mm-hmm. So, and it's just, just keep calm and just don't get greedy is what I would say.
Yeah.
Because that's what I say all the time. Like if I'm facing like a boss or an enemy and I'm like, and I go for like one more hit, I'm like, oh, I got greedy there. And then they come back and,
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what though, when you beat a boss or an enemy who you've been trying, mm-hmm. it's a rush. It feels so good. So, but yeah, I would recommend you start it, especially. And again, there's millions of YouTube videos and TikToks to help you and stuff like that. So, I would definitely give it a shot if I were you.
I don't know what is going on, man. I think I just have a disease for this podcast. Yeah. I don't know.
Speaking of video games, can I talk about Guardians? Because I finished.
Oh, absolutely.
Finally. So,
and where would somebody be able to find?
You can find that on PFN Gaming on our new gaming channel. I didn't upload. I uploaded the last episode but I've noticed that I'm just gonna keep them private until they finish processing.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't checked actually, but the HD one was still processing the HD version. I don't know how long that takes because I didn't want to put it out as 360p. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I should probably check. It might be done by now. But that'll be up probably tonight. So you can check that out. And then that's my final.
It is done processing.
My final part. Okay, so I can put that up.
I haven't checked in with the PFN game. 4 hours and 42 minutes.
That was the stream
crazy.
From Sunday.
That's wild.
That was a stream from Sunday where I sat down and I said, okay, I'm gonna finish it.
And then
like I started at 1:00 and it was like 5:00, and I was like,
"Jeez, yeah.
How am I not?" And I was 3 chapters from the ending. And I was like, "What the?" I was like, "Damn it!"
Do you think it had a satisfying ending?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me talk about. I'll talk about the game real quick. For me, it came out in October, so I'm kind of I'm a little behind, but for me, it was fine. There was times where I felt the chapters were very long. Like I felt like it took me an hour to get through one chapter, and it just like you've probably heard me talk about they use different words for swear words, so they like say flark a lot, and they say it a lot. It really got to me. I did not like it. Some of the enemies were just like they were just annoying. Like you have the Peter Quill as like this little element gun, so you like through the game like there's these moments where somebody's in trouble and you get a new element for the gun and you have to use it. So there's 4 elements total, and some of the enemies are weakened by certain elements. And even even when shooting them with that element, I never felt like I was doing they always felt very spongy to me. Very bullet spongy.
I know, but one day when I think me and Brandon were both we were just on Discord with you, and you were doing
it was probably that was like beginning of the game.
You were fighting no, it was like middle-ish. I think it was it was when you were in the church, like his daughter is revealed.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? And then the guy's like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done." And then you have to fight like the main priest guy. Yeah, it was that. I remember
that was like a small bout because that wasn't like you didn't.
Oh, okay.
It was like you got him down to like half health.
I think. But him out of it, like I remember you saying like, I feel like these guys are just like soaking the bullets in and just not like what is happening, like nobody's dying, like
like there's this one enemy type that I said it multiple times throughout those 2 last parts. They were like the worst enemies I faced, where they were I forget what they were called, but they had the ability to heal the enemies around them. So you had to kill them first basically. But it was like my biggest problem was, and I probably wouldn't have the biggest problem. This probably wouldn't be my biggest problem if there was this other thing that was fixed. The elements were like you ran out of it, so it had to recharge. So I would shoot those priest things that heal everybody, but like as soon as I'm about to like stun them with that thing, like it would run out.
So that's very annoying. Yeah,
I'd be like, what, like it'd be, and then they'd heal everybody, and it's just a never-ending cycle. And I was getting so frustrated. Like, it's like, just make it unlimited. Like, it doesn't have to be difficult. You're making
what difficulty were you playing at?
I think I was on normal.
Oh, okay.
I might have been on easy. Sometimes I put on easy just because, like, I just want the story. Like,
yeah. Looks like we got 8 people watching.
Wow, shout out those 8 people. Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was, I thought the story was, it was good. Or not, okay, I shouldn't say good. I thought it was fine. There was a nice little twist at the end. I was like, oh, I didn't see that one coming. There's some awkward.
Was it a big spoiler?
Well, not really. Well, I won't say it in case you want to play.
Okay, all right.
Or anybody else. But there's this one really weird moment where they're walking. You just beat like what you think is the final boss. And they're walking to their ship, and it's like, oh, let's do a strut. So it's that casual, like Guardians, like,
cool guy.
But it's this really awkward, like, they're walking, and it's just like this crowd, like, yeah. And they stop to talk to 2 NPCs along the way, and it's like a quick, blah, 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 and then it goes, and then they just continue walking. It's just like really just oddly, like, it's just really awkward, and it just did not feel right.
That's weird.
But yeah, one of my biggest problems with the game was definitely the enemies and the just the element, like the element ammo just really pissed me off. That was one thing that I was just like, this I hate this. Like, just make it so it's unlimited. Like, you can make my regular bullets, like, because that was a thing where it's like, oh, the gun's too hot, you have to, let it cool down. It was that type of thing. But the element thing, I was like, because it takes like a full, like, 10 seconds maybe to recharge, maybe less than that. But by that time, it's
the guys are rehealing.
So it's like, what, it just took some of the enemies took like me a stupid amount of time to kill. And my other problem with it was everything felt very repetitive. Mm-hmm. Like, it was like one wave, walk a little bit to the next room. Here's another wave. Walk to the next room. Here's another wave. And it's like, okay,
Flarb.
Like, can we, change it up? Flarb. Like, I get it. It's not Spider-Man where it's like, oh, we're going to this part of the series. But it was like, come on. But yeah, I said at the end when I was done playing, I was like, I'd be down for a sequel. Mm-hmm. But I'd probably have to, I'd probably have to see other people play it first to see if I would actually enjoy it. But yeah, I'd probably give it, I don't know if I gave it a star rating after my playthrough. I'd probably give it like I did give it on the GG app. I gave it a star rating. What did I say?
Yeah, give us your star, and then where does it fall compared to Avengers?
It's better than Avengers.
Like, way better?
I gave it 3 out of 5.
Ooh.
Way better? I mean, it's a different game. I mean,
yeah.
Avengers is multiplayer online game. So it's definitely better than Avengers, but like it's no like Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Like, come on. But yeah, that was my quick review of Guardians of the Galaxy the game. My next game I want to play is Tunic, which is like and this game apparently has been developing a long time. It's like one guy who was developing it.
I remember this. Remember this. Yeah.
And just came out today on Xbox Game Pass and Steam.
Nice.
So I want to stream that. It's kind of like a Zelda-like game with a little fox.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
what I want to stream next.
All right. So, do you have? So we've been off for 2 weeks technically.
2 weeks,
We missed 1 week, but so what? Let's see. What is 13 days ago? What day was our last stream? I don't know. What have you been watching since our last stream? While I try to find what the actual day was.
All right. Well,
since the 2nd.
So I started Winning Time.
Okay.
Told you about that. Since the 2nd. So,
man, I got to start using TV time again.
Yeah.
Cuz I've been watching so much TV.
I finished the Kanye documentary Genius.
Okay.
On Netflix. Really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt it's just like, I know he records documentary type footage for literally every album, and I felt like they squished everything into the third part. Now, granted, the guy who was recording it, Cootie, he kind of was out of Kanye's life for like years at a time. With it was kind of their whole friendship dynamic where like sometimes,
he kind of like float in and out.
Yeah. So that kind of makes sense. But everybody knows like there's all this footage for like the Life of Pablo album and I think Yeezus and everything that he's done, and it's like, where's that footage? Like, give me that documentary, But I really liked it. The Batman, obviously.
What's that one?
It's actually this new indie film from Matt Reeves.
Oh.
The Dark Knight. I actually started a Jackass watch, so I watched
The Dark Knight.
Jackass 1 and 2.
Oh yeah.
Which I still don't think...
No love for 2.5?
I just didn't...
Oh, you just haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. Watched Batman and Harley Quinn. It was that bad. I was wondering, and it was bad. West Side Story.
Oh, okay.
The newest one.
Okay. Is that your first time you... It is the first time you watched it.
Yes.
I know that. I'll get to why in a second.
It was really good. I just thought at times it clearly looked like a set.
I agree with that. See that? Okay, so
that's like my only kind of knock on it was that I was like, well, it's clearly a set.
So this is my thing that I'll say. We'll talk about it again in just a second, but this is the thing I'll say on that is you say there are times when it felt like a set, right?
Yeah.
Well, people say the same thing. Well, you could tell it's the volume. The Batman. Well, you could tell where they used the screen tech. No, you fucking can't. Yeah, you can't at all. The volume sometimes with the way that the set piece is actually orchestrated, the speeder bikes in Book of Boba Fett. Really, that's the only time though. That and then okay, this is a cut to Mando season 2. Bill Burr, the like scrapyard that they get him from. You know what I mean? That when he's like serving his prison sentence, that felt like the volume. That felt like he was working on something that was actually there, and everything else was a screen. Those are 2 moments. But what did you just say? Oh, there was times where I felt like a set. Whether it's a digital set or a real set or a CG set, people say the same shit. It's just about how it's shot. Like, sorry, that was just a tangent. It's just like, you can tell sometimes it's like. It kind of feels like most of West Side Story was filmed on like one studio set block.
And it just felt longer. I don't know why. It felt
longer than the first or longer than the runtime?
Longer than the runtime, okay. I think. But more specifically, it was kind of like the last shot where it's panning up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that doesn't look
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turning Red, which we're going to talk about. The Gift.
With Joel Edgerton? I just had a 45-minute conversation about that movie at work today.
This is a good movie.
Because I was talking to them about Kenobi, and I was like, oh yeah, what really excites me is when Deborah Chow told Entertainment Weekly, like, just thank you, George, for casting Joel Edgerton. And then I went on this whole rant about The Gift. That's so fucking funny. That is an incredible movie.
Me and Danielle had no idea that it was written and directed by him.
Yeah.
So at the end,
that's
when it was
incredible
like, I was
movie.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's so good.
Very good movie. And,
what's it on? Or did you rent it?
It's on Netflix.
Oh, I might have to rewatch it. I think I remember me and my mom like sought that out because I was like, Joel Edgerton's getting behind the camera, like doing this like kind of like thriller thing, and then great.
And the Adam Project, which we'll talk about later. So
nice. I have been watching like a fucking crazy shit ton amount of shit. I don't really know how or why, but I just got in like this groove of like I just wanted to watch as much as I could, which like I feel comes and goes. I feel like it's just related to what kind of hours I'm working at work. So obviously the day after last week's or the last show, watched the Batman. That was great. Then I watched Kimmy, the Zoe Kravitz HBO Max movie. What did I say? I said RGB the movie.
Is that good?
I gave it 3 stars.
Okay.
I said seriously a good little film. I'm trying to review more like on Letterboxd, like I'm trying to write more. Just like paragraphs.
Quick excerpts,
yeah. I think it was like a good movie. The frame rate and cinematography was a bit jarring throughout the film. Like it's what's his name? It's Soderbergh, so it was very like he was trying something new with like it's at I think it goes between 60 and 120 FPS like throughout the movie. Like it like varies in frame rate. It like varies in frame rate, and then like the camera is very like following her, like she'll be walking down a hallway, and it very much suits the scene. Like I'm not saying anything, like I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was very enjoyable, like just boom, like 87-minute movie. Like it's one of those that's just like super quick, just like it actually felt like a Black Mirror episode. If I'm honest, if you put the Black Mirror intro on it and told me that was an episode of Black Mirror, I would have believed you.
This is real quick funny that you bring up this whole like 60, 120 FPS type thing, because a weekend or 2 ago was when I was at my cousin's, They had Simpsons on Disney Plus, and
oh yeah,
I was watching it. And I was like, did they upload this in like 60 frames or something, or like because it looks like really. They're like, no. I was like, do you have motion smoothing on? And
they did.
Like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's why it looks like that. And I don't think I've ever really noticed how weird it looks until that. And I was like, yeah, this is why I turned it off because it looks weird. But yeah.
So then after Kimmy, which I would recommend, I watched Annette, which I told you I was I gave that 3 out of 5 stars in my.
I'm surprised that wasn't nominated for anything because I felt like that was a big movie that.
I feel like it should have been.
Okay.
I really wanted to love this. I think the Sparks brothers did like so they had Edgar Wright did like a documentary about them this year, and they did all the music and lyrics and everything for Annette. Okay. They have some real great moments. For me, it just didn't come together as like a cohesive thing, which was really disappointing.
I do want to watch the documentary. I know absolutely nothing about them. So
yeah, I haven't seen the documentary yet.
Yeah,
I just know. Yeah, they're in Annette a little bit. But yeah, and then I watched the Batman again, and then I watched West Side Story.
Okay.
On HBO. That's how I knew that you hadn't watched it because I looked to see if you had watched it and it was on your like want to watch or whatever. And I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I said this gives me hope that a reboot of The Outsiders could work in this same style. Have you ever seen The Outsiders?
No.
Jesus Christ. No. That's like a really great movie from the 80s. It's based on this old book with like it's like where like Ralph Macchio, Patrick Swayze, Tom Cruise, Emilio Estevez, like a bunch of these people. Was Emilio Estevez? Okay. I might be lying about Emilio Estevez. Okay. I might have bled over. But like Matt Dillon, like a whole bunch of people are like that rose to pretty good stardom, especially Tom Cruise and Ralph Macchio started in The Outsiders before pretty much anything else. Fantastic movie, but honestly, because it has that kind of like like the greasers and the socias, which is basically like the socialites, like the rich kids, and then the greasers are like the poor kids. It's very like Sharks Jets, like that 50s like. It has that kind of energy to it, and I feel like if you said we're doing a brand new interpretation of The Outsiders, and it's gonna be by Warner Brothers, like in the exact style. It's not a musical, but like in the exact style and like set and that kind of thing where it's filmed using modern technology, but it almost feels like it could have been filmed back in. The time that it's set. I think that would be really, really great. So, yeah, I enjoyed West Side Story, but for some reason, it just, like, spoke to me that I was just like, oh, my God. If they, like, gave The Outsiders this treatment, I feel like that movie would just be fantastic. Especially with some of, like, the younger talent that is, like, so up and coming right now. Like, I feel like you really could cast that movie really well. Because, like, obviously... there are some pretty meaty roles in The Outsiders, like I just said, like Tom Cruise, like as a tiny role, and he's so good. And then like Patrick Swayze is fantastic, Matt Dillon, Ralph Macchio, so good. Then I watched Batman '89, which great movie,
still good. Yep.
And then was this when this is then on the 8th is when I went and saw Batman in RPX.
Okay.
Good experience. I said RPX experience was absolutely incredible. The best way to watch this film. The Batmobile scene really gets your heart pumping.
Nice.
Very much so. So RPX has like what they call the butt kicker seats, where they have like the vibrator in the seats, like and it's not like the whole seat shakes like 4DX. Yeah. It's just like it's like a rumble setting. Okay. Almost is kind of the best way to describe it.
Is that an option? Or no?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe there's like rows that don't have it or something. I'm not sure on that though. But it only comes up very, very specific times. The best time that it was used in the movie was when it's the interrogation scene with him and Riddler, and every time he goes what are you doing? Yeah. Every time he hits the glass, the seat shook, and I was like, and it was timed like perfectly. It was just it was timed perfectly with the sound and the visual, and I was like, damn, that was awesome. As great as the Batmobile was, that whole scene and chase was just basically just like the whole time, but it was still really good. But that was like, it had been such a long time since it happened.
Yeah,
I was like, not expecting it to happen when he just like hits the glass, but then when it did, I was like, it like jolted me out of my seat a little bit. It was great. But then that aside, the screen and the sound was just like fucking like it was incredible. It was and then I saw the Batman one other time since then, just at the theater that I work at, and it just pales in comparison. Like, it's just, I still haven't seen it in IMAX, but it just, I don't even know how IMAX would compete, because I've said it before, like, the audio experience in the IMAX auditorium just isn't, and it's no fault on that. It's just RPX is designed for the audio and the optimal audio visual experience at once. IMAX is more about the visuals and the loud sound. Yeah. RPX is more about the dynamic range that can, you know, kind of play off the auditorium. Not to say anything bad about either format. It's just they do two different things. But yeah, end of RPX thing. That was fantastic. RPX. I highly recommend that. And it's not much more than a regular ticket. I think it's maybe $1 or $2 more, whereas like IMAX and 4DX are much more. So if you can get out to like an RPX auditorium, because by the time Morbius comes out, Batman's going to be out of those premium format theaters. So, you know, strike while the iron is hot, if you will. So then I watched the Batman again. Then I watched This Is 40. Because we were talking about Maud Apatow, and I was like,
oh, okay.
I was like, because I was like, when I was a child, I was like, the movie I fell in love with Maud Apatow was like Knocked Up, because we were like the same age in the movie, basically. But Knocked Up, it's not on anything.
Oh, okay.
Which I was like, what? That's surprising. But its sequel, This Is 40, was, so we watched that instead. Which that's a great little comedy too. And then for some reason, it auto-recommended off of This Is 40 Ready Player One, and I watched it, and I was like, you know, I remember this movie. I was like, I love this movie. I still love that movie. That movie is so good. I mean, yes, is it like over the top and cheesy and whatever? Like, absolutely. Is it exactly? But this is the thing. It's exactly what it advertises that it is. It's not like saying like, oh, this is gonna be, you know, this epic new tale, you know, on the level of like Lord of the Rings. It is Easter egg the movie, and that is exactly what it is, and it is fantastic. Yeah. And I give it 3.5 out of 5. Nice. I mean, that's great. I'm still you and I are both still waiting for the sequel to it. Like,
yeah, shout out to the 7 people watching. Shannon says RPX over IMAX. Danielle says I literally just watched This Is 40.
She said she literally just watched it.
Yeah, not like 2 seconds ago,
but like recently.
Yes.
Yeah. Great movie. This Is 40 is a great movie. And I watched Ready Player One. Then I watched Turning Red, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Then I watched The Happening.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that.
Shyamalan.
That one's
it's the trees. I don't know. Science. That's the one with Marky Mark. Mark Wahlberg doing some great work in that movie. Zooey Deschanel, absolutely dog shit. Just one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a film. Not sure if that's her. Not sure if that's Shyamalan. I don't really know. That is one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a movie. Also, John Leguizamo, who I normally love, and his character's like a nothing burger, but I hated him. I was like. Spoiler alert for The Happening. When he died, I was like, oh, thank fucking God. I was like, you know, not even when he died, just he like kind of leaves the main group. And then, you know, a few scenes later, he dies. But I was just like, when he left the main group, I was just like, oh, fucking thank God. Like, get this fucking guy out of here. It was just like an annoying character. Like, Zooey Deschanel and Mark Wahlberg are like going through like, not a breakup, but like a series of fights and stuff. So like, they're not as strong in their relationship. And Leguizamo's like his best friend. And he's just like trying to like pick a fight between the two of them. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I just like hated the character as soon as he started speaking. I gave that 2.5 stars.
Okay.
Yeah, great movie. And then I watched The Adam Project, and then I watched Fresh, which is the Sebastian Stan, yep. Daisy Edgar Jones film. Nope.
Cannibal.
I will not answer that question.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of interesting twists and turns in that movie.
Hulu original.
Okay. Yep. I give that 3 out of 5 stars. Not like anything incredible. It's not like, oh my god, you got to see this new A24 movie. Like, ah. It's like, that was a really solid surprise, like good movie. So that was pretty good. I would definitely say check it out. If nothing else, for good performance by Sebastian Stan, and introduce yourself to Daisy Edgar Jones, because they got Where the Crawdads Sing is supposed to be like this phenomenal movie coming out of the festivals, and she's supposed to be like the breakout star of that. So you can watch a great performance from her right now on Hulu if you have that subscription. Then today I watched The Starving Games, which
I saw that on your thing.
If you don't know, that is like the spoof movie, like one of the last spoof movies they made in that kind of era of like epic movie, of Hunger Games. And
it sucks.
I gave it 0 stars.
Nice.
Yeah, which technically on Letterboxd means you didn't rate it.
Right.
But I did rate it, and it's 0.
Gotcha.
That was one of the worst fucking things I've ever seen in my life. And then flip side, TV real quick, because I've watched a shit ton of TV in addition to this stuff. Finally started and finished Ozark season 4, or 4A, whatever you want to call it.
Great.
Fucking phenomenal. Holy fucking shit. Forgive me. That show just gets better and better and better, and I cannot wait for the final 6 or 7 episodes or whatever it is. Finally started, because it got added to HBO Max, finally started season 5 of Rick and Morty, because I missed it when it was airing.
Mm-hmm.
So they finally added it to HBO Max. That's great as always. Fantastic. I think I'm on like episode 5 of season 5. Winning Time. Started Winning Time. Fantastic HBO show. You can watch it on HBO Max. Really, really great. I know there's one that I'm leaving out. Upload on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah.
I started that. That is very good. Okay. That is very good. It's from Greg Daniels, who did The Office, as well as worked on Parks and Rec, worked on Good Place. It very much feels like a mix of The Office and Good Place, and very, very in that vein of his. But because it's streaming and because it's Amazon Prime, it's a little more adult oriented. It's set in like the not too distant future. It's set in I think it's 2023. And it's a very realistic future. Like, it's like, if you ever watch it, you'll see what I mean, because it's kind of hard to describe, but it's very much feels like that is a realistic future with where we could be, in the next 11 years. But,
Daniel
that was all great.
Never forget the botched Ready Player One poster. Shannon said, no, not the happening. Oh, so cringe.
The leg. You remember that?
Oh, when he's climbing the ladder.
The fire escape. Man, yeah, Danielle, you just sent my brain back.
Breakfast Bitch said Ozark needs to win awards next year.
Yeah. See, I'm torn, because it's like it'll all come down to Emmy eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
But I need it to work out so that Bob Odenkirk can get it this year and Jason Bateman can get it next year. Because it's just one of those things where it's like John Hamm with Mad Men running at the same time as Breaking Bad. It's like you're always going you're going up against each other, and it's like, with Bob Odenkirk, it's like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. It's like that man has been playing that character for 14 years. He had a heart attack on set. Like, he left everything out there, and it's like, show him the recognition he needs. But yeah, that was fantastic. I'm sure there's other stuff in the TV world that I'm kind of forgetting about, but yeah, I've been watching as much as I can.
Breakfast Bitch, aka Shannon.
Michelle.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
said she's been watching Pam and Tommy.
That's what I forgot. I watched all of Pam and Tommy yesterday. I started it, and holy shit, it is phenomenal.
The one thing that I heard that Pamela Anderson is like, she didn't agree to that, and I guess she's like releasing her own thing. Daniel told me on Netflix or something that he's telling the real story, a documentary or whatever. Yeah. So, but yeah, I had an interest in it, but I just I watched too many things. I can't shove it in there anywhere.
It's very good. I mean, Seth Rogen's great. God, thank you. It's like you pulled it straight out of my brain. I was like,
"Are you gonna check out Deep Water? Deep Water? Dark
yes,
Water? I Dark Water or Deep Water? I forget.
It's Deep Water.
Deep Water.
Dark Waters is one of my
Mark
favorite
Ruffalo.
movies of one of my most influential movies of all time. My goal for this year is to watch every new release that I have access to. So like Deep Water's coming out this week. There's another one that's Jesse Plemons' movie is coming out on Netflix that's supposed to be really good. This like horror thriller. And then there's another one coming to theaters that I just can't remember right now. But I plan on watching all three. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah. All right. Now that's out of the way. Jesus, I didn't think I was going to go for that
Probably
long.
an hour in, right? 47.
Yeah. Well,
right.
Since we started late, we're only like 35 minutes in, but it's okay. All right. You want to hit some news first? All right. Let us pull up the news. Ken Napzok.
That was a good one. Yeah.
All right. So, as some of you may know, we covered it weeks or months ago, whenever the news originally broke, that Discovery will be purchasing Warner Media out from AT&T. It's a huge merger, not quite Disney Fox level. Disney Fox was around like the $80 billion range. This is more in like the $50 billion, but a little more risk associated, which we'll get into in a second. So basically, Discovery put in a bid to buy Warner Media from AT&T for $48 billion. That was officially signed off on, which is basically just a what do you call it, where it's like a given anyways, but it's like you kind of have to do it. It was like a prerequisite. Like they had to clear it with the shareholders to be like, is it okay if we spend $48 billion of your money on this? And so it went through the shareholders. They agreed. So the merger will officially be moving forward. And then we got a little bit of extra news. We got some behind the scenes news about who is going to be staying on with Warner and HBO. Interesting choice. One of the guys who actually has been promoted in his position is the guy whose decision it was to do the day and date thing. Which
he's staying?
He got promoted.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Seems like everybody's talking about him just getting fired when this happened.
Yeah, and
everybody's like, "This is a stupid idea for like movie theater business." And
the apparently industry, he is going to be a crucial part of the team going forward.
Okay.
But that being said, it's not just him. The new guy is pretty much keeping almost the entire existing executive team pretty much, with some variations and position changes and stuff. That stuff's all boring, but stuff that will affect everybody is they also announced that within time, they said hopefully weeks or months rather than years, HBO Max and Discovery Plus will merge to become one streaming service. So, question I throw to you and to all you fine people watching right now, let us know in the chat. Shout out what you think. What do you think this new combined service will cost, and what do you think this new combined service will be called? Because they said that it will have a new price tag. Obviously, which makes sense because I mean,
it's more
you're adding an entire. It's not like you're just adding in another hub. It's like you're adding in Food Network, HGTV, Discovery, History Channel, History 2. You know what I mean? Like you're adding as well as all their original content. So, what do you think? What do you think it'll be cost? What do you think it'll cost, and what do you think it'll be called?
I was hoping they just kind of keep the same name. Mm-hmm. I know that doesn't make sense though, just considering. Like you look at HBO, you look at an HBO Max, and nobody's gonna say, "Oh, History Channel is on there," right? So you kind of have to make it so everybody knows that, we're Discovery and, HBO now. So we have double the content. What does it cost now? I don't even know.
Which one?
HBO Max, like $12, I want to say.
Oh no, it's way higher than that.
Oh,
I think it's $15.99.
Oh, okay.
Because it's priced. I think it's whatever. It's like they wanted to make it a no-brainer for cable people. I think whatever it is, it's $1 more than adding HBO to your cable plan. So I want to say it's like $15.99.
Okay.
And then Discovery is $4.99. I think it's one of the cheaper ones.
Should be,
yeah.
For me, I think it'd probably be between the $15-$20 range. Mm-hmm. I think past $20 are really pushing it.
Yeah.
I
think the most you could do is $19.99.
Yeah. Because then you're really unless you come up with an ad tier, which is that
which it
were
looks
they
like
kicking the can on that? Is that HBO doing that, or is that
no? That's Disney.
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. Yeah, that wasn't even one of the topics, but we could talk about that if you want. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the way forward because you look at Hulu already has that. Peacock already has. I got Peacock back, by the way.
I saw that. I've been using
it. Okay. Peacock already has that. Paramount is introducing that. Disney Plus is about to introduce it. So really now the only holdouts are Netflix and HBO. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's probably just the way forward because it's like, why not? I think I forget who it was. It might have been Jeremy Johns or somebody, but they were like,
Breakfast Bitch said $18, $17.99.
$17.99. I think that's a fair price for.
I
think
think that is a fine fit, in the middle. Just because, like you said, you don't want to. Granted, in our streaming service rankings, I had HBO at the top.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it's worth that much. And Discovery again, you're just getting more content. But Discovery's not the thing that for me personally, I can't speak for the general population, but I don't think Discovery is the thing that makes a person want to subscribe. You know what I mean?
You want
although
400 episodes of Guy Fieri.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm not the biggest.
Triple D, Guy's Big Bite. Come on. Minute to win it.
One thing I will say, though, is I used to be on my parents'. Well, I am again now. But I was, a few months ago, I was on my parents' HBO, and they were getting rid of it because my sister wanted to get Discovery instead. So, there is a market out there.
Yeah.
Granted, I think they got rid of it and then went back to HBO.
Mm-hmm.
But just saying, there are those people.
The market does exist.
But what will it be called? Discovery Max.
Somebody said,
HBO Discovery.
I don't
know.
Robert Meyer Burnett on the John Campea show said, that the HBO name is just so lucrative.
Yeah.
It's the most prestigious name in all of television. So it's I don't see them getting rid of that. The one that they settled on that show was, they said probably HBO Discovery.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that's probably a good name because, and they said not only does it work with the brand synergy, and for just the consumer knowing, okay, this is where Discovery is now, and this is still my HBO stuff. And it also has the double meaning of discovery. This is where you go to discover
shows.
Yeah, discover content, see what you want to watch, make it your own. I could see totally the ads and stuff and how they would kind of market it and merge the two together with HBO Discovery. I think that's a great name. I think Discovery Max, I think that's also a good name, but I feel you do want to keep that HBO title in there.
Yeah.
But I think if you don't keep HBO in there, I think Discovery Max is a good one too. But yeah. Would you pay? We could say yes. I could see $19.99 being the price. Would you pay $19.99 a month for that?
Yeah, I'd pay just for HBO, honestly.
Yeah.
I'd probably pay just for, again, with no ads, just because I use it so much. I'm trying to look on my YouTube TV app where, because I don't think I pay that much. Oh, I don't pay for it anymore. So
okay.
Never mind. But I was trying to think how much I paid for HBO because I didn't think it was that much. I thought it was $13 or something. So maybe it was like a discount because I was paying for you. I was adding it to YouTube TV. Mm-hmm. That could have been. But yeah, for me, well, I mean, in this case, I wouldn't be paying for it. Maybe if unless my parents wanted to get rid of it because it was too much. But yeah, I would pay for it. Especially again with if they released a ads tier, I'd probably still pay for no ads just because again how much I use it. Mm-hmm. And even like again, there's the report. Like that Batman's coming to HBO on April 14th, I think it was. So like that's a quick turnaround. Like it just came out, and they're already putting it on HBO.
Yeah, because they've already said that they're committing to the 40 or 45 day model, and it's like,
yeah. So for me, that's just
what day is it right now? I mean, it's March 16th, so that means May, like June 1st, you can watch Secrets of Dumbledore at home. June 1st.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you think about that, like, that far out. It's like, well, Secrets of Dumbledore is right around the corner, and then all you have to do is wait 45 days, and it's on your TV. Like, you watch it however many times you want. And I feel like 45 days is really, this is the pitch-perfect example of what you want to do with kind of the HBO Max model. You look at Batman. I mean, it's well approaching, 500, maybe $600 million at the box office. Mm-hmm. It is making a fortune at the box office, not like pre-pandemic numbers, but it is making a killing at the box office, and you get the bump that'll come when it goes to HBO Max next month. Uh-huh. I mean, it's like you get like the perfect double dip, whereas before with the day and date, you're completely cutting your own legs off. With this, it's like you get to get this giant momentum build of making all this box office money and then be like, and guess what? Boom. If you have HBO Max, you can watch it right now. I mean, as great as it is that No Way Home, made all this money and stuff and that now it's out on digital.
Did you buy it on digital?
I did not because I my car's in the shop.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get it yet. And I'm like, would have been cool. Plus, yeah, exactly. I was like,
that's a whole other bag of worms. That's
with Sony and stuff. But if the world was simplified in that way, it's like
worms, not bag of worms.
But it's like if the world was simplified in that way, it's like I kind of feel like the conversation would be even more if it was on streaming. I feel like everybody would be watching it. You could steal those trending hashtags from the Batman and put Spider-Man No Way Home back to the top of trending if it dropped on like a streaming service and was just like, guess what? Everyone now can watch Spider-Man No Way Home at home if you have Crackle.
Now, speaking of Spider-Man, this is going to be a dumb question.
Yeah.
So speaking of Spider-Man No Way Home on digital, so there's been a big talk about all these bonus features. Now, it could just be because Dune didn't have any bonus features, but like the Steelbook doesn't have any. Do the Steelbooks usually like have the features that like the regular 4Ks have or like the Blu-rays?
I don't know. I mean, okay.
Because I'm like I
genuinely can't remember.
I pre-ordered the Steelbook, but I'm like, well, if it doesn't have the special features, then it's like, well, I'd rather have just not the Steelbook. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. I'm trying to think. I know because I have Doctor Strange on Steelbook. That's probably the most recent.
Right.
I honestly.
But like Dune might not have special features.
Yeah.
But like if it, because it's like I don't know if it matters that it's like a Best Buy exclusive type thing, but like if there's no bonus features on this thing, it's like, well, give me the regular one.
Yeah.
I'll look into that.
Yeah, I just am trying to think. I genuinely can't remember the last time I watched a Blu-ray or any physical media.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think probably the last thing I watched was like Mission Impossible, probably, because because that was before they were all on Paramount. Now I only watch it. I have the collection because I love that franchise. I have the collection on Blu-ray. That's what I used to watch it on. Now they're all on Paramount. What's the point? What's the point of going downstairs, getting my Blu-ray set, bringing it up here, bringing it to wherever I'm watching? If I could just log into Paramount and watch them right then and there at what on it? Let's be honest with ourselves. At most 15%, fidelity lost in the sound and picture. and I think 15% is very high. It's probably more like 3%. Because I mean, it's just the amount that like Disney Plus they can stream in 4K. It's like what's the difference? I mean, it's like
they don't have to pay more for that.
Huh?
Like Netflix, you got to pay more for that.
Yeah.
Granted, Netflix has
they bundle it into like the more
screens
or whatever. Yeah.
Disney's like
has a bunch. Yeah.
Things.
But yeah. So that'll be interesting to see whenever the hell that happens.
Yeah.
Then we have Sam Jackson accidentally confirms that Don Cheadle and Martin Freeman will be returning for Secret Invasion.
Nice.
So it sounds like more and more the Secret Invasion is going to be kind of like a Avengers. What would that be? 4.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, like an event.
Like a Civil War type.
Yeah. Like which is like okay, but can we talk about the fact that we're not talking about a movie?
I would say, isn't Secret Invasion a series?
It's a series on Disney Plus, and we're talking about, not that Martin Freeman is an Avenger, but you know what I mean. But we're talking about Nick Fury, but like Maria Hill, Talos, Martin Freeman, Don Cheadle coming in. Like,
is that done? That show?
No, I think they're still filming.
The last thing I heard about it was like either Emilia Clarke or Olivia Colman. That was the last thing I heard about it.
The rumor is that it might be like a 10 episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they've been filming it for a long time, and they said it was going to be huge. They said it was going to be like a big one. So, if they break the 6 episode format, I mean, honestly though, no, because WandaVision was 9 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't even think there really is a 6 episode mandate. So, I think if it ends up being 10 episodes, awesome. Great. I'd hope that all the episodes aren't 32 minutes long. That would be really annoying. But, I think that would be great. I think Don Cheadle coming back, I think that they're just giving him a really great run-up to Armor Wars. I think that's genuinely why we keep seeing him pop up here and there, is to, make sure, this guy is a staple, a anchor of the MCU, and, get ready because his show is coming around the corner. I think that's going to be part of that. And then also Martin Freeman. Can you believe the last time we saw Martin Freeman was in Black Panther? 4 years ago?
Time, yeah.
That's nuts.
4 years ago. Jesus.
Actually, what's today? March 16th? Almost 4 years ago to the day.
Sheesh.
Yeah, because Black Panther came out, like the 14th of March, I think, 2018? Yeah, so it's been 4 years since he's been in the MCU, and then now he's going to be in like 3 projects because they already said that he's going to be. I think they said he's confirmed for What If, and then Black Panther 2, obviously, and now this,
which might come out this year, which has been
that's another story that they say that both Bad Batch and What If are locked and loaded for season 2 coming out this year, which I mean makes sense. I mean those are shows that. I mean, the dialogue's been recorded for probably 2 years. Like, it really just comes down to when do we want to release them, not like when is it going to be finished. What If brought home Best Animated Series at the Critics' Choice Awards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Best Animated Series just in general. It was up against like Invincible, Bad Batch, a couple others. For animation, I would give it to... What If? For overall show, I would give it to Invincible.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, but I feel like it's hard to argue the actual animation of it.
Yeah, because there were multiple times when we said Invincible looked kind of cheap.
It was just, which
all due respect to
it because it had a tiny budget.
Yeah.
Still looked great. Still was an epic show. I think the clear cut example of that is when the what do they call it, the like final straw or something, the giant space laser that's meant to take out Omni-Man, the blue one that just, because it's like the whole episode and the whole show really, it's like, this animation feels kind of cheap, and then they just like drop $1 million blue laser that has all this like beautiful animation to it and stuff. It's like they really like just save the budget for those huge moments in that show. But yeah, I mean, What If was just like, it was like a visual like feast, especially that Ultron Watcher episode. Yeah. Like when Ultron bites the galaxy, like holy, like what the I mean, that was awesome. I mean, visually it was incredible. I thought Bad Batch was really cool too. Bad Batch is like beautiful animation. Like that's like, you know, you think you're looking at real life in the outdoor settings and stuff. Like especially in the last episode when they're going to rescue Hunter, like you're like, holy shit. Yeah. Or I guess second to last because I forgot about Camino. But yeah, great, great overall. Then we got Sydney Sweeney has been cast alongside Dakota Johnson in the Madam Web.
It's like this sounds familiar.
Yeah, and Madam Web. Who do you think she might be playing?
I have no idea. I have no idea who would.
There's been speculation that she would be like
Madam Web.
Yeah, that's the only person we know that she isn't playing. She could be Peter Parker. I don't know.
I've seen somebody make a TikTok about black cats.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that people have been fan casting her and wanting her to play Black Cat, which I would at first I was like, oh man, like what? She can't play Black, but I was like, doesn't necessarily rule out that she isn't playing Black Cat in this. I mean, all Madam Web is she she's got a whole bunch of like multiverse crazy shit, but like really what she is like she brings different like Spider-Verse characters together and like manages the whole Spider-Verse like web of life thing, which Black Cat is a part of. Like she's one of like the, you know, the Spider-Man area of the Marvel Universe characters. So I think it's still possible. I think it's also possible that she could be playing like Gwen Stacy, like a live action Spider-Gwen. I think that's almost more likely.
Yeah, I can actually see that more.
But again, I would say, well, if that's the case, cast her in the MCU. Don't put her in Madam Web. Like, you know what I mean? Or you could just do both. Honestly, you could just do both. I mean, look at, like, you know, people play variants of each other. Different actors play the same character. Yeah. Different characters are the same actor. So it's, you know, they're really doing whatever they want over at Marvel. And somehow making it make sense, which is awesome. Let's see. Was that it? Oh, and then we could talk a little bit about the Star Wars stuff, the Obi-Wan stuff.
Yeah, so
with the rewrites.
Tell me about this Darth Maul thing.
Yeah, so apparently the original vision for Kenobi was let's just take it back a little bit. Okay. So Kenobi originally was supposed to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, a Star Wars story.
Yep.
Right? When the spinoffs were Rogue One, Solo, let's, you know, every year Star Wars movie, woohoo. That didn't work. Case in point. So it went back to the drawing board. Then, you know, the Disney Plus stuff was starting to come out behind the scenes. All right, let's take this great script we have for Kenobi. Let's make it into, I think at the time they were saying like a 3 or 4 episode like miniseries or whatever. Now we know it's supposedly 6 to 8 episodes, which is awesome. Because I really hope it's not like a 4 episode and then it's done. So that was great. Ball was about to get going. This is past the point where we're already like, you know, will you play Obi-Wan again? Yes. You know, this is way after that.
I hate it. I hated that. That was so dumb.
Yeah.
It's like he's obviously on the stage for a reason. Like, will you play
Obi-Wan? What is that date? February 7th, 2020. Yeah, so it was the weekend that Birds of Prey came out. Well, that was when we were in Toronto, when they announced it. But this news was February 7th, around there, because it was right when Birds of Prey was coming out, because he was doing all the interviews for Birds of Prey, and they asked him on the red carpet. The news broke that they were doing, I don't know if you remember, a page 1. They were like, there's going to be a page 1 rewrite of the Kenobi series. And everybody was like, whoa, what? It's supposed to come out like next year. Obviously, this is before the pandemic. So, you know, obviously a lot of things ended up changing. Because that was one of the things people were worried about. They were like, well, it's supposed to come out, you know, early next year. It's going to be rushed if they're rewriting it and stuff. Well, they got a little bit more time to breathe with, 2-year pandemic. Happy pandemic anniversary, by the way.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So, they do a page 1 rewrite, build out the show. That's the script they shoot. That's the script that we are going to see. So now all this information that's coming out is about that original script.
Okay.
Is the one that they threw out back in February of 2020. So that's what we're getting. So like people are like, "Oh my god, they like did all these they were rewriting like on the fly." Like I saw a bunch of TikToks that were like, and I was just like, people don't read anything past the headline. Like, but that's not what was happening. They were not rewriting on the fly. Like it was, and also I will give props to the headlines. None of them said like, "Oh, Darth Maul edited out of Kenobi." It's like, no, he never shot anything. Ray Park, and it also, oh
yeah,
whatever personal issues Ray Park had going on, he seems to have recovered from it. And this has nothing to do with that. Mm-hmm. Which I also saw people saying, which is like, we still don't really have the full story to that, but honestly, I mean, it wasn't even that bad of a thing. If it was him, stupid mistake. If it was a hack, feel bad for him. Whatever it may be, that I assure you probably had nothing to do with this. I think genuinely what this comes down to is probably the person who wrote the script didn't know what a Star Wars Rebels was, because there was all the rumors that are coming out is the show originally was going to be entirely about Obi-Wan and Darth Maul having their final showdown.
Yeah, and we're like,
well,
we saw that.
We already did that about 6 years ago. But yeah, so that's basically what it comes down to, is that the rumors are it was originally a much smaller story focused entirely on Tatooine, focused entirely on Darth Maul and Obi-Wan coming to blows one more time, kind of facing off, ending off their rivalry and stuff. And then we've also got reports too that are saying that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau in their original like meetings with Deborah Chow and stuff, basically they said that they kept pushing her to go bigger with it, because they were like, she was kind of thinking in the scope of Mandalorian, and they were like, this isn't Mandalorian scope, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, you're dealing with the movie side of things. Like, not that it's separate technically, but they were like, this is a story about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, people have been wanting this for 45 years. Like, go as big as possible. Yeah. So, like, they kept pushing her to go bigger and stuff, and then that's when...
Tatooine.
Yeah, exactly. But don't leave. Don't leave the cave.
Yeah.
But then, that's when, with the new script, that's when they decided to bring Vader in and make it more about Vader and Obi-Wan, and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's basically the news that came out. But then... Pablo Hidalgo, like of the Lucasfilm Story Group, came out and said that the whole report is bullshit. But who am I going to believe? Somebody on the inside that probably wants to cover up, people leaking stuff, or am I going to believe the Hollywood Reporter and Variety? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? I
usually where there's smoke, there's fire. So.
Yeah, exactly. And where there's somebody, that has a box of matches in his hands going like, no, there's no truth to any of that. Like, okay, well, but yeah, that's kind of what's happening with it. So would you have rather, let's say that Rebels wasn't a thing.
Okay.
Would you have rather seen, Obi-Wan, and probably what we're going to get is like the realization that Anakin's alive, the realization that, he's Darth Vader, them meeting again, them fighting again? Or would you have rather gotten a more smaller scale story about kind of like the intimate, rivalry between like Obi-Wan and Maul?
No, I'd probably still rather get what we're getting. Just because, like... But Clone Wars happens. So you still get that. You know what I mean? So you still have that whole thing with Mandalorian, him killing... Oh, spoiler. Him killing... I forgot her name.
Satine?
Satine, yeah. So, like, you have their whole... You kind of have that. So, granted, I guess that would be cool to see, like, that progressed.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, like... People are always talking about, like, when Vader refers to them, like, meeting before this. And it's like, what was that? We've never seen that.
That's the hot toy.
Oh, wow. That looks really good.
Jesus.
But no, I think I'm down for what we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to see Hayden back.
Yep, I agree.
Liked that we got nothing in the trailer. I thought that was sick.
Yeah.
We got that one photo. I think they should do another another kind of moment with the half the eye maybe cut off of the helmet and do the whole thing he did in Rebels, which again was so good. Like, damn, that worked.
You imagine if they were like, Hayden, we're bringing you back. You're gonna be Anakin again. Oh, fantastic! I can't wait. And they were like, boy, you're gonna be dubbed by Matt Lanter. they're like, sorry, the audience just prefers him. I don't know what to tell you. That being said, though, we did talk about this eons ago, but I remember we talked about it on the show. Let's revisit it with Anakin's voice. So, Hayden is very, oh, Master, I don't know, I think my love for Padme. But then Matt Lanter is much more like, Ahsoka, we have to know,
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about, like, do you think that Hayden will go with more of the, like, Clone Wars voice style? Because that's not what Hayden Christensen sounds like.
Right.
When he's playing Anakin, that's not what he sounds like in real life. Like, he doesn't go, well, I love Star Wars, it's great, George, and everyone, you know what I mean? Like, he sounds like a normal person. Yeah. So what do you think? I personally think he's going to skew a little more towards the Clone Wars voice, a little more of, like, the powerful Anakin.
Again, that whole kind of back offish, standoffish voice was, I think it was a lot of direction.
Yeah, it was a lot of George and yeah.
So I think he'll probably stray towards kind of the stronger, more, Clone Wars Z voice.
Yeah.
But again, I think a lot of it, I think out of this, well, I mean, obviously, but I think we'll mostly see him just like in a flashback, like I wonder what the ratio will be to Vader and just Anakin, like, you know what I mean?
I have a good feeling. I think there's going to be a lot of Clone Wars flashbacks in this because they're like every single listing that you see lists Hayden as basically like second build on the cast. Yeah. So it's like, I would say you don't do that to just be like, oh, in the one episode his helmet pops off. You know what I mean? Like, if that's all we're getting, well, what's the fucking point of that? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think it's either going to be one of two things. Either we're going to get a lot of, maybe not all of them being Clone Wars flashbacks, but maybe just flashbacks in general to prior to Revenge of the Sith, or even during Revenge of the Sith. That's always possible, too. Yeah. I think we're going to get a lot of that, or a lot of this show is going to be from Vader's perspective, and they are really holding that from the trailers. Because otherwise, what can you do with Hayden?
Are we going to get any Ian McDiarmid?
I think so. That's what I think.
I think there'd be like one or two moments.
Maybe a hologram or something.
Maybe, yeah.
But, I mean, you don't need anything more than that. I mean, that's still having him in it. Like,
yeah.
But I think... Yeah, definitely. When the Grand Inquisitor first talked in the trailer, I thought it was him.
I'm not gonna lie. Again, it's an animated character. I was like, that looks really weird. I for some reason, I was like, well, granted, in animated, his head's like long,
but
or tall.
that species is in Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, okay.
So that's what people are saying. They're like, people are comparing it to Cad Bane, and then people are like, well, it's not like Cad Bane because
Bane wasn't blue enough, in my opinion. He should have been more blue.
Well, that was also because of like the age thing. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason for everything. I mean, they'll explain. There'll be a thing one day that's like, oh well, it'd be like the opposite of like Stewie Griffin, where like Stewie had a regular head and then he hit his head and it grew out. Obi-Wan's gonna like force slam the Grand Inquisitor into a wall. Yeah. And then his head's gonna squish in on the sides. Yeah. He's gonna like, oh my god. Yeah. But yes, I think, does it really matter to me? Absolutely not. I think that Rupert Friend is a great choice to play him. I would have preferred to see Jason Isaacs, just because that's who the Grand Inquisitor is.
Oh yeah.
But I get it. He's supposed to be much younger here than he is, so it's like, Jason Isaacs he's got to be in his mid-50s by now. Like, you know what I mean? The Grand Inquisitor is probably supposed to be like 30.
Is this where we get a Fallen Order reference or anything, you think?
I think maybe you could get like
it's the timeline, isn't it? We're close.
It's 5 years. It's 5 years after. Wait, hang on. It's 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, which means it's 5 years after Fallen Order, and it's the same year that Solo takes place. It's the same exact year on the timeline that Solo takes place. Is Obi-Wan. So yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I think if you're gonna do anything, I think
you could see like maybe a Seer Junda.
Yeah.
Like Seer from it. Maybe not necessarily Cal, but maybe, her, especially with everything with the Inquisitors and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think you could. I think you definitely could. I mean, because Seer, obviously, with slight spoilers for Fallen Order.
Did you finish
my replay?
Or whatever?
No, not yet. Yeah, no. I think I'm like halfway through. Yeah. I'm past all like the temple stuff on Zepho. All the stuff where you have to like move the ball and do all the puzzles and stuff. I'm past all of that. So I think I'm probably like halfway through, but it is hard. It is so. I mean that they're not kidding. The Jedi Master level is like, or it's either Jedi Master or it's Grand Master. One of those two. It is hard. The hardest difficulty on there. But slight spoilers for Fallen Order. Like Seer Junda is an ex Jedi who had a Padawan that falls from grace and comes back up in the story and stuff. So I think that her connection with the Inquisitors, maybe she's somebody that Obi-Wan could go to be like, yo, tell me, like, what are these guys about? Because I'm assuming this is the first time he's seen any sort of action in 10 years. You know what I mean? I mean, other than fighting off, like, bandits and Tusken Raiders and stuff. Like, any actual, like, lightsaber combat he probably hasn't seen since Mustafar. Mm. What do you think? No, do you think we might get anyone? All right, besides Vader, I'll even say besides Qui-Gon, because I think that's a foregone conclusion. If there was to be like one big cameo or whatever, who do you think it would be?
Oh, for me, I think this lines up too. I think it'd probably be Kanan, right?
Oh, that's
we saw him in Bad Batch for 2 seconds. There's been I don't think there's been any like rumors on a casting or anything, but I think that would be one.
And he does know, in the New Dawn novel, he does have a relation. He has somewhat one-sided, but he has an important relationship with Obi-Wan. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Obi-Wan would immediately recognize who he is just because he's older. Yeah. But like, the first scene of the book is young Caleb Doom being like, it's a great, like Obi-Wan's teaching them about the holocrons and about like this is the signal, if people, this is the signal to send out to all the Jedi to tell them to come back to Coruscant. Mm-hmm. Which, the fake signal that goes out telling everyone to come back to Coruscant in episode 3. That's what and then Kanan's the only one that goes, well, he says, Master Kenobi, what if we needed a signal to tell people to go away from the temple? Yeah. And it's like, well, there you go. This guy's pretty smart.
We don't know who like Kumail is. We don't know who Benny Safdie is. We don't know who
there's so many people.
Jr. is. Like, yeah.
One of those three is definitely that droid. Oh, okay. Like that big droid that they said they translated the Arabesh and it just says Ned on him. So they were like, that's probably like Camille or somebody. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I just am super excited for Kenobi, whoever might be in it. I think for me, I don't know if you would call this like a huge cameo because it kind of makes sense for him to be in it, but probably Cody. I mean, if you're ever gonna bring that character back. Yeah. Which I think you should. Hopefully they do that. Like, I think that's the perfect place for it. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Because they got unfinished business together. And Tamora Morrison was also apparently, like, spotted on set. So, I mean, that kind of settles it. And granted, you could say, well, he could be playing any clone. Yeah, but if they're going to put a clone in the show, why would it not be Obi-Wan's right-hand man? Like, all right. Anything else on Kenobi before we get into our reviews? Yeah. All right. So thank you guys for bearing with us with all the news and everything. Now let's go ahead and jump into our 2 quick reviews here before we close out the episode. Which one would you rather start with?
I think Adam Project or Turning Red? Adam Project.
Okay.
So Adam Project came out this past weekend, I think.
Yep.
On Netflix. Mm-hmm. Netflix original. Ryan Reynolds starring.
Oh, one more piece of news. Sean Levy apparently set to direct Deadpool 3 at Marvel Studios.
Good. Deadpool 3, more Deadpool. Sean Levy directed, starring Ryan Reynolds, Zoe Saldana,
two Catherine Keeners.
Two Catherine Keeners.
Mark Ruffalo, Jennifer
Gardner.
The kid, who is great, but I forget his name.
Too. I'll bring up IMDb.
It's pretty much everybody, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a small cast movie.
Yeah.
There's like the one, the main, like, Catherine Keener's, like, main enforcer guy, who's kind of there throughout the whole movie. I forget his name. Fastos.
Yes. That would be Christos.
Oh, Fastos is
Alex
an Eternal.
Malari Jr.
Great, yeah. Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah. Okay, so for me, Adam Project was a fun, good movie. Not great. Not bad. Good.
Okay.
And for me, basically what that is the main plot I gave two shits about. The whole kind of time travel, we got to go back, save the universe type thing. And, in my time, it's like, you ever seen Terminator? It's 10 times worse or whatever that is. Or, I didn't care about any of that. What I cared about was the relationship between Ryan Reynolds and the kid who played his younger self.
Yeah.
And dealing with the grief of the loss.
Mark Ruffalo?
Well, I mean, that whole relationship, that family relationship
trio.
dynamic. I'm including Jennifer Garner in that.
Okay.
I cared about them dealing with the grief of that and how they kind of learned from each other. Because in the beginning, I was like, why is this kid such an asshole to his mom?
Yeah.
Like, he's such a... But, throughout the movie, you kind of learn, like, especially Ryan Reynolds' version. I really cared about them, and I cared about their relationship. Again, the whole Catherine Keener story, I did not care.
Yeah.
So when they were like blowing up the whole thing at the end, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I thought the kind of, this is full spoilers, by the way, for Adam Project. Sorry. Full spoilers. So if you don't want to watch it, leave now, come back. Or if you don't want to get spoiled. When she does the whole kind of bullet magnetic thing, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a great, like, subverting expectations moment because
I thought her younger
was
self
gonna
would
like
just jump in front of it.
No, exactly.
That's exactly what me and Danielle said. We're like, oh, I'll probably just
and I think that the movie does such a perfect job of setting that up, setting that expectation up, of being like, oh, well, her younger self is kind of backing off. The older one is kind of going full monologue, to quote Syndrome, like, she was monologuing pretty hard, like, with the gun, like, I've killed, you don't think I'll kill one more? Like, she was really, like, becoming unhinged. And it kind of sets it up perfectly that you're like, oh, well, the younger one's probably going to jump in front of it. But I caught myself because I was like, but wait, they already said that if it went through one person, it wouldn't stop the bullet. It would just go through it. Yes. So I was like, she can't jump in front of it. I was like, like, something else is going to have to happen. Yeah. And then my brain was so busy thinking about that it never occurred to me, the magnet thing. And then as soon as it happened, you think back to 30 seconds before when he says thank you for that information to when Mark Ruffalo says that to Ryan Reynolds. And you're like, oh, okay, that was a weird way to say that. But it's because, no, he knew in that moment he'd be safe.
And then immediately I said, magnets, bitch.
Jesse Pinkman. And that'll do it for this show. No. But I thought that was everything else about the movie aside, I thought that was a genuinely, like, top 10 moment probably for, like, this year in movies. Like, because I was like, wow, you really got me. Like, when a movie really impresses me like that, and I'm like, I did not see that coming. Yeah, that was a great moment.
I like the banter between Ryan Reynolds and the younger kid. I gotta look up his name because I can't just keep calling him younger kid. Walker Scoble.
Walker Scoble.
I thought their banter was great. Some of the jokes were hit and miss. Mm-hmm. Like the whole kind of smoke the banana or whatever they said. Like,
that was weird.
I was like, that's not really funny, but okay.
Yeah.
But this movie,
out
of all the things about this movie, probably has the worst deep fake I have ever seen.
Is it a deep fake or is it like a DH? I
think there's no way it's a DH.
It looks like I think you're right because the side of her head sometimes when she turns, it almost looks like it's not matched up.
I think they aged her up and aged her down. I think was what Danielle said, and I could kind of see that too. Maybe the older one.
Oh, like they aged current day Catherine Keener up to be even older. Down. Yeah, I got you.
The deepfake is just hilariously bad. Like it's bad. Like
it's bad.
I wanted to look away. Like it was that bad.
Her nose doesn't. It looks like a different person's nose.
At the end, I was like, please don't make me watch this again.
Yeah,
it's already bad enough.
Yeah,
and I Danielle might. I don't know if she'll attest to this, but I literally yelped. I was like,
wow.
I was like, Mandalorian, that looked great.
Yeah.
And Netflix, all your money, you can't make it,
yeah, exactly.
halfway decent. I get it, it's new technology. But just don't, if it looks, just don't do it. Just don't do it. Maybe you age her up and then you just, and I get it's years, but just bring regular Catherine Keener in.
Yeah.
To do it.
Well, and also it's like, oh, no, no. 1,000%.
I get the years would be kind of wonky,
but what you just said. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Catherine Keener is not a romantic interest of Mark Ruffalo's character or anything, so they don't have to be the same age. Catherine Keener's relationship with him is that she just is a partner and funds his research. Yeah. She could have been any age. She could have been 40 in the past, and then she could have been 60-something in the future. Instead, they made her 30 in the past, and then 50-something Catherine Keener, and it's if you had just made her a little bit older to start with, you could have just done makeup for both sides of it. You know what I mean? Or here's an idea. Here's something that movies used to do. Just cast a different actress as a younger person. I mean, I get that that would undercut having them right next to each other, but
I think that was clearly that was also a different actress. That was a different actress with her face.
For sure. Which,
yeah, it was just really bad. And that really, I don't want to say because I was already at the point where I was like, I don't care about this plot. But that I was like, okay, now I really don't care.
Yeah,
because this is just not good. But yeah, I think the mainstay for the movie is, and what really works for me is the relationship between the family, and that's really it. But it really hits.
I would say
me.
Zoe
really
Saldana too.
And so Zoe Saldana, him coming back, finding her, and all that thing, and then she dies, and I was like, damn, come on.
Yeah, that was good. That was good though. It was shit. It was it really felt like, okay, they have to do it then.
Because he was and you could see Ryan Reynolds. I thought really was.
Well, he was great in this. He was great.
Come on, I don't want to. I just found you and all. And he leaves, and
I believed
that was
it.
all.
Yeah.
So did I. And then at the end, you kind of get that nice ending. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But yeah.
Oh, did you get the little Star Trek reference?
No.
He was like, "What's your major?" And she said, whatever. Some word for space that I am blanking on right now, but then she said linguistics, or alien linguistics or something like that. That's what Uhura, who she plays in Star Trek, that's her thing.
Oh, okay.
Is that she's
like a translator?
Yeah, exactly. Gotcha. Yeah. So I was little Star Trek, and there's tons of little references in there. And I've seen people I'll say it because if you want to come over here, you could fight me. But Lon Harris from Screen Junkies or fandom now, he was he went on this whole thing on Twitter and about how the stickers on the what is it called? The toy chest or whatever you want to call it. The bin outside that he gets the baseball mitts out of. It has a Deadpool and a Hulk sticker on it.
Oh, it does? Okay.
And it's literally half a second. And he made this whole long Twitter thread. And I'm only saying him. There was tons of other people on TikTok. TikTok was full of it. But it's I'm sick of movies having to do this. Oh, you get it? These guys are... It's just having fun. You know what I mean? If you can... and I we'll get into how I felt about the movie in a second, but I think I liked it a little bit more than you did. Not to say that you didn't like it. But if you look at a movie like The Adam Project and like Free Guy, and not just be like, yeah, it's kind of the same thing with Ready Player One. It's like they're playing fast and loose with it, but it's like they're just having a good time. Like if you're watching a Ryan Reynolds action something movie like this, especially with like there's gonna be references and stuff. That's what Ryan Reynolds is perfect at.
Watching this, I did say like, oh, I can't wait for a Deadpool Hulk interaction.
Yeah,
like just watch.
Oh, did you like when the kid did the superhero landing?
Oh,
that was great. That was a great Deadpool moment.
But yeah, I thought it was good, not great.
What'd you give it?
I gave it 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gave it.
It's really hard to go higher than that for me when I cared less about the main plot.
Yeah. Well, part of my goal has been, and I've talked about this for like years. I know. That like I give out 5 stars way too much.
Yeah.
So I've been really trying to like hold back, and I've given a lot of shit 3 stars. Like I really have, especially with what I've been watching lately, like I've really been more stringent with myself. Like I gave Fresh and a couple of the other movies that I watched 3 stars because I was like, that was a good, enjoyable, like Kimmy, I gave 3 stars. I was like, that was a good, enjoyable, solid film that I either will never watch again. It was just okay. 3 stars can mean a lot of things, but what it does definitely mean is I liked it. And I would say I more than liked The Adam Project. I gave it 4 stars. 4 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
Everything you said, I agree with 100%. I think the absolute strongest parts of the movie is the family dynamic, especially the
action
scene.
Was good too, I thought, by the way.
What'd you say?
Action.
Oh, the action was phenomenal. Yes, but yeah, I thought that's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like we would have forgotten. The action was fantastic in this movie, right on par with like Free Guy. Like really, really good. If this is how Sean Levy directs Ryan Reynolds doing action, I mean Deadpool 3 is, the comedy, the action, it all comes together in those first 2 movies. Deadpool 3 is sure to be incredible. Whether it's R or PG-13, I honestly feel like it would be just as enjoyable. Like, I feel like you don't need the blood and guts if you don't have if that's the main barrier, because you could still have them swearing and stuff. Just do 1 F-bomb. Or you could go R-rated. Doesn't really matter to me. But we'll talk about that another time. I really enjoyed that. I also did not care for, like, the Catherine Keener thing. Like, I was like, I really don't give a shit, like, about... For me, it's like I really didn't care about... To me, it was like, okay, the, like, Terminator-esque future that he was talking about. Like, I was like, okay, I don't really care about that. But I feel like you don't really need to care about
it. Show.
Well, that's what I mean.
It's like Terminator.
I feel like we don't really need to care about it because I feel like he's here now. That reality is gone because he either fixes it and it's gone anyways, or he's not going back to it because he's gonna die. So for me, it was more like I didn't enjoy the villain aspect with Catherine Keener and stuff, but it had to be there. Otherwise, there would be no driving force to make me enjoy the family dynamic. You know what I mean? Like, because really it's them trying to stop time travel or whatever you would say. And then, they wouldn't, and that's what's kind of drawing them together. Whereas, they wouldn't have that if the Catherine Keener stuff wasn't there. So I get that you had to do that. But that being said, yeah, I didn't enjoy that. But I really loved the interactions with Mark Ruffalo and Ryan Reynolds, as well as Ryan Reynolds and Jennifer Garner too. Like specifically the bar scene when she's talking about her, the young Adam, and he's like on the verge of tears, and I'm like the acting in this movie, just to bring it down way to basics, the acting in this movie from everyone is like so good. Even Catherine Keener, I thought she hammed it up as a villain and did a great job. It was just kind of the look of the younger one that was and the plot, but acting wise, I think she served the purpose perfectly in both roles. My cat's losing his mind. I thought that she was great too, but specifically that bar scene, I feel like is maybe even the best scene of the movie. No, that's a lie. Definitely the best scene of the movie is at the end with young Adam.
Oh,
right
yeah,
when he's
catch.
Just,
that's a tough one.
And then when it's just boom,
yeah.
It was like Hawkeye and Endgame all over again. But yeah, like my roommate was like, she was like, wait, they're gone, and I was like, well, at least Mark Ruffalo, he's got another Adam at home. You know what I mean? He's got 4 years with that Adam, too. So he's got 4 years to make it even better with him. And who knows? It's one of those movies that it does leave it open ended that, you know, we don't know. Maybe because he didn't do this stuff, maybe he's on a different set of events and he might have lived. It's one of those movies where it doesn't really give you the answer. So who knows what could have happened? Would you want to see a sequel to this?
No, because like, what else? You don't have time. What are you doing?
Yeah,
because you don't have time travel now. So like,
yeah,
what?
Well, I'm sure there's some way that you could do something.
Yeah.
But I feel like this was just like a genuinely like great, just movie that was like a really great story, not a great villain or like that aspect of it. But other than that,
good Netflix original.
Yeah, I would say it's the best Netflix original movie in a long time because I feel like, you know, everybody says, you know, when it comes to TV, Netflix is, you know, good. Second only to HBO. Probably. Yeah. You know, Netflix TV is just fucking incredible, but their movies, it's like 5% great, 95% dog shit. Like that, and this was in that great camp, like 100%. Like
Don't Look Up was a Netflix original. It's like,
how dare you?
I'm not. I meant no, like, you said best one in a while. Don't Look Up was good.
No, yeah,
I didn't think it was great. But.
I know, yeah, it was. I think this isn't as good a movie as Don't Look Up, but I think I enjoyed this more.
I think the most recent one that I liked a lot was I Care a Lot. I think that was the most recent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that right.
Did we like that?
I liked it. Yeah, you liked it.
Oh, yeah.
We reviewed it with Tom and Jerry, so we liked one. We definitely didn't like the other one.
Peter Dinklage was the villain in that?
Yeah. Well,
wow, what a movie. Well, oh, yeah, yeah, I guess, yeah. Oh, yeah, that
Pike was definitely more the villain.
Yeah, that was a crazy fucking movie. How did she survive underwater that long? Anyways, okay, I think it's good as it is. I don't think you need to see a sequel.
Yeah, no.
I think if they figure out some way to do it, you know, fine. If it comes out tomorrow that, you know, after they work on Deadpool 3 and then Free Guy 2 and then they want to do an Adam Project 2, you know, whatever. Yeah. Well, all right, what do you think we're going to get first, Free Guy 2 or Deadpool 3? I'd say probably Deadpool 3. That's what I think.
Yeah, but Deadpool 3's on like the timetable, you know what I mean? It's on the Marvel table. Like, you're not just putting out Deadpool 3.
No, I know. I get what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. It just depends.
The timeline. Sorry.
Really,
the timeline.
Really, the decision lies with Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
Honestly,
the man who wears the hat.
Yeah, the decision. All it comes down to is Sean Levy going, okay, I need to direct my one episode of season 5 of Stranger Things. That I'll have time for before Deadpool, but will I have enough time to do my Stranger Things episode and Free Guy? Like, will me and Ryan have time to do that? Because you gotta think about everything else that Ryan Reynolds is doing. Like, but when you put it in that perspective, I mean, the man makes like 6 movies a year. So, I mean, that might be an over-exaggeration, but he did do like 4 last year, or within a year if you include Adam Project, I guess. But yeah, I just really want like to see Deadpool again. Like, I mean, Deadpool 2 was 2018. Deadpool 2 is 2018. So that means by the time we get the next one, it would be at least 5 years between sequels, which is a lot considering the time between the first 2 was like 18 months. You remember that? The first Deadpool movie came out Valentine's Day 2016.
Oh yeah,
and then the second one came out like less than 2 years later. I remember that being
a rough shift.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that was such a busy shift.
So you gave it 4 out of 5?
Yeah, I gave the Adam Project 4 out of 5.
3 out of 5. Next, and this is our last kind of topic. We're gonna review Pixar's new movie Turning Red, which just came out on Disney Plus. Unfortunately, it was relegated to Disney Plus, And I think it definitely probably should have been in theaters because it's good enough to be in theaters. It doesn't need to be relegated to a streaming service. So let's start with you. What did you think of Pixar's Turning Red?
I thought it was absolutely incredible. I said this movie is excellent. It was a visual feast. Mm-hmm. I said this and Encanto back to back is absolutely incredible. And I agree with that 100%. Like, I loved this movie so much. I really, really enjoyed the use of animation in it. Mm-hmm. The fact that they did physical comedy and sight gags, not within the story, but with the actual animation, like the snap zooms and like the whips and stuff, and then also like when she's embarrassed and it like comes in on her and the glass of the camera basically like cracks. That was awesome. There's so many things like that throughout the movie that are really good. But then the actual just visuals of the film itself, apart from like any of like the sight gags or stuff, the color palette is like beautiful. Like, it was just so like warm and like and like nice to watch. Like, it was just so, it looked so good. And then the story was, I mean, incredible. Like, the story was fantastic. It's the second Disney Pixar film in a row that, deals with family, not actually third really, because Luca kind of dealt with that too.
I haven't seen. That's one I haven't seen.
Yeah,
was Encanto Pixar or was that Disney?
That was Disney.
What was the last Pixar one?
Luca.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Honestly, the line is getting so close. It's like, you could really say. I mean, I would believe if you said Turning Red was Walt Disney Animation Studios, I'd say okay. If you said Encanto was Pixar, I'd be like, all right, yeah, sounds good. You know what I mean? Like, the only difference is where Pete Docter's name is in the credits. Like, that's basically the only difference. This was so good. Let's see, what was I on? Yeah, the family stuff. So I really love that they're, these movies are coming out that are like these brutally honest like looks at family dynamics of like, families are not perfect. Sometimes in the case of like Encanto, they're so not perfect they actually edge into like being harmful relationships based honestly really with when it comes to
real quick. Speaking about Encanto, did you hear that we're gonna get a live performance of We Don't Talk About Bruno at the Oscars?
Is it Lin-Manuel Miranda?
I don't know.
That's interesting. Is it gonna be like a full like stage production of it, or just like a person singing it?
That's what I saw.
Because that's a tough one.
I also saw like
you kind of have to go like all the way with that.
Celebrating 60 years of James Bond, and
I saw that. Yeah, I had that in one of the stories.
Yeah,
like all the different things. But honestly, that's cool. I'd just if we could try to get everybody in the in memoriam this year, like that'd be better. Yeah. Like celebrating 60 years of Bond, and then don't include Sean Connery. Was he 2021? He was 20. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. He must have been.
But yeah, like I really enjoyed that. But then also like so Encanto had that bit of if a family doesn't communicate, it can lead to disastrous results, that kind of thing. People just need to be honest with each other. That was a big message in Encanto. This was more like, people like the pressure that is put on children is then passed to their children and passed to their children. But it's not really anyone's fault. Like that's more what this movie was saying. Whereas Encanto was like, the grandma, like, that pretty much it was her fault. Like she really like, put pressure on herself, which then went to everyone else. This is more like, I'm never going to be good enough for you, Mom. And then that heartbreaking scene in kind of the bamboo forest, if you will, where she finds like her younger mom and is like, she, bless you. And, you know, her mom is saying the same things that she's feeling. And it's like, this is a generational thing. Then she's like, you know, she had kind of already made her decision, but when she decides, you know, to not give up this part of herself, it's just like this beautiful moment of like her mom recognizes, like, at first they're like, what are you talking about? But then it's like, you know, if you, you know, to quote High School Musical, gotta go your own way.
Yeah.
And I was like moved to tears in this movie. I'll be honest. I was crying. I was moved to tears in that moment when they all kind of come together in that place, the mom and the grandma, and Mei-Lin. I was like, it rocked me, man, to my core. I was like, damn, this movie is crazy. And then everything else, apart from the emotion, just super hilarious. The story is great. It's just such a simple story. You know what I mean? It's like the girl, she just wants to get through this and go to a concert. That's all it is. She just wants to get to a concert with her friends. And that's the entire driving force of the movie. And, you know, it's a journey of self-discovery and coming of age and all that stuff too. But the simple nature of the movie is that she's trying to keep her Tamagotchi alive, and she's trying to go to a concert.
What's the band called again?
Four Door?
What is it?
Oh my god. Four Town.
I didn't 5 members.
Yeah, I didn't even look it up. It like came to me. But yeah, an obvious like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, you know, no shit. Which music, all the music written by Billie Eilish and Phineas for this movie. They nailed it. Like they nailed like that early 2000s like boy band stuff. Like that was great. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Same as Adam Project. I love this movie.
I think I matched you, I want to say. Yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5 too.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a little. What did I write? I just wrote absolutely wonderful. Yeah, that's basically how I felt. I really, really enjoyed myself during this movie. There's a lot of really cool instances. I thought one of my favorite scenes, obviously, was just the kind of kaiju fight that kind of comes out.
Yeah,
like,
totally unexpected.
When
she comes around
like,
that
lurking
corner,
around the city, and it's like, what is this Godzilla v Kong? Like, I thought that whole thing was great. Same thing for you, like the whole kind of coming of age story, and you know, dealing with growing up and going through, you know, puberty and all that other stuff. Like, I thought that was really well done. I thought it was a nice surprise too, for me, that it was something that, and I guess this makes sense too in hindsight. Like, it's something everybody goes through. So of course her whole family's gonna know. Like, everybody's gonna know about this because it's something that everybody goes through. But like, I didn't expect that going in. Like, I thought it'd be the story for hiding it.
Yeah.
But like within 2 minutes, like her parent, like everybody knows.
Yeah.
Like, so I thought that was really.
And then
cool.
when I realized that her family knows, then I was like, okay, so it's gonna be that. But then it's just everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
And then 400-foot panda shows up to the Sky Dome in Toronto, and you know, we would have been able to see that.
That's true.
Well, probably from my mom's house. But I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, when the dad's like, you know, telling the story, and they're like, you know, her panda is like big, and she's like, oh wow, yeah. And then when you see
how
it,
big it is,
it's like just the slow like like coming around the corner, and you just see the red eyes. You're like, oh my god, this movie just went from like 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. Oh, so good.
Starring, you know who it's starring? Then I was like, who the
Sandra
fuck is
Oh?
No, it's I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong. Wei Ching Ho. He's in a lot. He has like 500 credits, but what I know him from is.
Oh, is this the old guy you're talking about?
Yes, he is from. Do you know what I'm gonna say?
Zoe 101.
No.
Oh, well, he is from.
He might be in Zoe 101.
Yes, yeah.
But what I say, what is it? Where have I heard that? Seinfeld.
Oh yeah.
Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, Chinese. Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, that guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
But everybody was great in this. Sandra Oh, the girl, Rosalie Chiang.
She was fantastic.
She was great.
She was great.
The animation, like, oh my god, I was like, And I'd probably say
the animation
about every animated movie. It's like, wow, animation's come so but this movie is just like
a next level.
It just
like
looks
another
so good.
Level. Yeah.
Like even like with Soul, it was like this looks like we are approaching the like obviously the character model. The models are obviously like not
like Joe Gardner
shapes.
wouldn't that face wouldn't
right
work in reality.
That's just not how people look.
Yeah,
but
everything else,
it just looks very real.
I mean, the entire world that is it supposed to be New York in Soul?
I think so.
Yeah, like the New York. Yeah, I think it is because I remember the pizza. Like the New York that's in Soul is like the world that Joe Gardner lives in is like that's the real world. Like when those bricks fall, that's I'm looking at photography. Like if it weren't for like the cartoony faces, like you're saying. But then in the same movie you have these like little like cloud people. It's like well that's what you can do in a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
But even something like Inside Out, which at this point it's almost 7 years ago. Oh Jesus Christ! Like almost 7 years ago with Inside Out, when you're in Riley's real world, like I mean, that looks like real San Francisco. Like it looks real, and it just comes so much farther. And that's why I love that like Soul can have that realism, but then a movie like this can be this like hyper stylized, like Toronto, like Chinatown look. With the one thing I will say, that was not the Tim Hortons logo in 2002.
Oh,
that was not. The Tim Hortons logo.
I was like, oh, is that Tim Hortons?
Yeah,
and I was like, oh shit, yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, and it was cool too. Like, obviously, we don't live in Toronto, but like we've been to Toronto, and specifically, I can't remember if we drove through when you were with us or if you've been to it or whatever. But Chinatown specifically, like, it was just like it was perfect. Like, I mean, obviously it was, but it's just like the translation, like to the movie with, you could just know that it was Chinatown in Toronto because of all the freaking rail. Like all the railway track that's just going every direction over every road in there. Like I feel like they really nailed it. And I love that it was just like set in Toronto. Like when was the last time I moved? Like that was like so cool.
Tell you what though, Sandro's the mom. She was pissed me off for a while because you are crazy.
Yeah,
she's hiding behind like that whole her whole exchange with the security guard, like when she's hiding behind the tree. She's like, well, my daughter goes here. It's like, well, man, and it's the whole thing.
Yeah, like
I thought that was really funny. So, and this is what. Now I don't know if you've seen like the kind of I don't even want to call it controversy because it's not really controversy, but the whole thing kind of surrounding this movie where it's like parents are like not showing this to their kids because of.
Oh yeah, I mean that's.
Have you
ridiculous.
heard that? Like,
yeah, I mean that's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean that's all. I mean it's just stupid. It's the whole movie. The whole point of the movie is the opposite of that. Right. Is this like what you said earlier? This is something that happens to everyone. You know what I mean? Maybe not turning into a giant red panda,
but it's
but it's what it actually stands for.
Right.
Either when you're a girl going through like having your first period or a guy going through puberty or whatever. It happens to every single person. 99.9% of people, it happens to all of us. And it's not something to shy away from. That's the whole point of the film, is to say, these things are okay. These things are normal. And I feel like that's just ridiculous that people are like, oh, wow, I'm not showing that to, specifically I've seen like, I'm not showing that to my son. Well, what, like, is your son never gonna, interact with a woman or a man or anybody? You know what I mean? Like, this is part of the world. Like, is your son never gonna grow past 14? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Like, I just think that's like a ridiculous notion. And not only is it a ridiculous notion, it's the exact opposite of what the film is trying to say. The film is trying to tell everybody, this is normal. This happens to everyone. This happens to all of us. This is a way to deal with it. Or this is a way that, people should deal with it or so, whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I just think that whole kind of... Yeah, I just think the whole kind of thing is just kind of ridiculous. I don't know. I definitely related with the movie. Not because I never had to go through that, obviously, but on some level, I feel like it's really easy to relate to.
Yeah. Because a girl having her period aside, another thing that the movie really focuses on is what happens when you get to the age where you have to have that, however major or minor it might be, you have to have that moment where you kind of come to blows with your parent about, you get to the age where you have the person that they want you to be and the person that you're becoming.
Or even doing, because I definitely had this, doing things that maybe you've grown into that you feel like you should be able to do, but your parents don't want you to.
Yeah, exactly.
I've definitely gone through that. Yeah. I was like,
with Maylin, going to the concert.
Yeah.
She's she has to even hide. She has to even hide the fact that she even knows who Four Town is.
Right.
Let alone that it's her favorite band and that she knows everything about them and everything. She's got to act like she doesn't even know what the band is. And it's that's why that moment is this, that's why you say, boy, girl, whoever you may be, you have that experience of that catharsis when she just explodes at the end, and she's just and I like loud music, and I like to go and and she's like, and I like gyrating, and I can do all these things, and I'm growing up.
Even when she was running past and she stopped, she goes ooga, and then she
that was great. Yeah, that was fantastic. And also I felt like Pixar really, whether it's Disney or Pixar, whoever, really let them go a little more older, when the mom yells at the guy at the counter and she's like, this is what a life of drugs will get you, and I was like, whoa. I was like, you just said that in a Pixar movie. And then when Maylin is she's like, what's wrong with my brain thinking all these nasty sexy thoughts? And I was surprised that they said those lines.
I agree,
but I was like, more of that. I mean, because it's just, honestly, it's we're not in the 50s anymore. We're not in the Middle Ages anymore. But swearing, I feel like as a whole, as a society, swearing and being more open about adult things and what adulthood is is becoming the norm with younger people. So it's I like that, movies are starting to reflect that. You know what I mean? You wouldn't get that line in a Toy Story movie because that's made for a younger kid. But a 14-year-old who this movie is really made, not made for, but directed at, they know what those words mean. They hear, dare to do drugs. I mean, or dare to not do drugs.
Dare to do drugs.
dare to be drug-free. That stuff you get in 4th grade.
Yeah.
So it's these are things, that's what I liked about this movie especially. It was it was just honest about the world that we live in, which is funny because it's set in a world that was 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy that 2002 was 20 years ago. But the movie's set 20 years ago, and it's just as relevant today, with people even our age.
Yeah.
People are still dealing, with parents or bosses or authority figure. It's just one of those universal movies. It's just so good. I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, honestly, for me, like I said in my letterbox, the back to back of this and Encanto is just two absolute and also, how cool is it that those movies are so good, and they both feature the main character as a woman of color.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? A woman, an Asian girl, and then I don't even know how old Maribel's supposed to be.
I don't know.
Probably high school. Not that she goes to high school, but probably 17 or something like that.
Yeah.
But these two very different, very independent, but great lead characters anchoring both of these fantastic movies. It's just the fact that it just pisses me off with that thing of well, I'm not showing this to my kids. The fact that anybody can look at this movie and be see it as a negative. It's it's such a positive step forward, and being a positive step forward and being a fantastic movie at the same time. And a beautiful movie at that.
Oh yeah, it looks
I mean,
great.
so when she's jumping over the roof, and then the old guy looks up and sees her, and then there's that quick shot where the panda almost becomes the most photorealistic it's ever been in the movie, where she's in the arc of jumping and you see all the hair like moving in the wind. I was like, this movie's like incredible. The look of it was just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. And it has the classic, like the bully, kid or whatever, he's really a fan of the boy band the whole time. Yeah. Like, and he becomes one of the group, Tyler or whatever his name is. Like, it's great.
I might have talked myself up to 4.5, honestly.
Honestly, same
I think
here.
I'm gonna be 4.5 out of 5 on this.
Because I gave Encanto a 5 out of 5, and I gave this, and I feel like that's too wide of a gap.
Because I don't really know what I would be like. Oh well, if you did that, there's nothing really wrong with it. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, so I'm gonna go 4.5 out of 5 on Turning Red.
I think I'll go 4.5 out of 5 as well.
Yeah, so that'll do it.
Yeah.
For this week's episode.
We went exactly 2 hours.
Yeah. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought below of the 2 movies we just reviewed, Adam Project and Turning Red, as well as any of the news stories we talked about. Please subscribe to Planet Film Network. Check out the reactions there, PFN Gaming, and of course the channel PFN Live.
And the Twitch itself.
And Twitch.
Yep.
And all our social media platforms. I was one of your hosts, TJ Cornwell.
Boom. And I have been your other host, Sean Monk. Like he said, make sure to follow us at the official PFN on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're posting over there almost daily. Actually, that just reminds me. Let me see if anybody interacted with the TikTok that we posted for Turning Red. Nope. Nope. All right. So, the Batman one did pretty good, though. I don't even think I ended up reading it on the review. But, so yeah, make sure to follow us over there so that we can get some interactions on those videos. If you ever want to, know, if a movie's coming out or anything, and we want your guys' opinion on it, we're going to ask for it over there. It's always going to be either, sometimes we'll do a Twitter poll, sometimes we'll do an Instagram story with a poll on it, sometimes we'll do a TikTok with a poll. So, make sure to follow on those platforms to be a part of the conversation as well. And like TJ said too, over on the main channel, Planet Film Network, we have a lot of reactions up there. It's been a big week for trailers. And we appreciate the views and the growth that we've seen from that. And like he said, next week we're definitely going to still be on the PFN Live channel. It's looking more and more like we're going to be staying on this one for the live streams. Because whether it's related or not, I would tend to say I don't really see how it isn't related, seeing as though the time lines up perfectly with when we stopped doing the live streams, because technically on the main channel it's been like 3 weeks since we've had a live stream over there, and that's about when we started seeing the growth again. So we really appreciate that, and with that out of the way, we will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
See ya.
Boom.